So all you need today for this painting that we're going to do is your primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, and some green and brown and some white, and you can put some black on there too if you want. These have really nice bristles and they're great for your trees and your bushes, and this is going to be used for your background, okay? And then we have a flat synthetic brush, chiseled edge, and I have a flat a filbert brush, which is chiseled edge and synthetic, and I also have a liner brush. So for the background for our boat painting, we are going to use blue. It could be a dark blue, ultramarine blue, and I'm going to add a little bit of green to that. You can just judge it to the color that you want your background. You can go more blue or more green. And I'm just going to add a little bit of Sienna to grade up a little bit. See how it changes the color? Isn't that nice? You add as much blue and green as you want. A little bit of white if you want. Just adjust the colors to what you think you would like, okay? And then you're just going to paint your whole background that color. This will be your background underpainting, and then we'll put our boat and our reflection there. So all you have to do is go back and forth with some nice long strokes, and you can use a 1-inch brush, 1-inch flat brush. See how nice and plain that water is? It's going to be so clear that you'll be able to see a beautiful reflection of the boat. So make sure that is completely dry before you transfer your boat pattern to your canvas. I'm just going to trace on my pattern onto my dry canvas, and I'm going to put some carbon paper underneath my drawing. Like that. And then start tracing around so you'll get everything in shape and in place. So you can use carbon paper. You can paint over it, it's okay. So I put together a kind of yellowy greenish color. So yellow and a little bit of, I was trying to get more on the orange side, and a little bit of burnt sienna. Burnt sienna, and so that's burnt sienna, yellow, a little bit of red, and some white. And we'll use that as our base color, so you can always highlight it. And I took a little jar of water, and I'm going to use that to make a glaze. I want the paint to be transparent so I can see my lines, and plus I want to layer colors. So we'll do a glaze and then we'll layer the colors. It'll be a new lesson for you. So make sure that the paint don't drip on you. So let's go in between these lines. That's too thick. Wipe off your brush and get some more water. I really like to have it more transparent. Take burnt sienna, add it to my brush and nothing else, just burnt sienna. Okay, and then I'm going to add that on this side. Now I'm going to take that shadow and move it over to my paint. There we go. It's better. Down here you're going to get the yellows with the burnt sienna, so make sure you add enough burnt sienna to get that nice dark color, okay? Because under the water we want it to be, and you can add water so you can get a nice glaze. So underneath the boat I'm going to go with the darker, just use just burnt sienna, that will help. Follow the lines. Follow the lines if you can. Add more water to get it to move. I didn't add any paint that time, it's just whatever was left over my brush. I don't know if there's an easier way I could do this, but I still like to teach you about layering paints with glazes. Once you learn that, you can do it in all your paintings, a lot of your paintings. So I'm just filling it in. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point, as long as you get the shapes. That's most important, is get shapes. Stops right here. Let's keep it a little darker. That's the shadow, see? Oh, what happened there? Yeah, we're trying to do a reflection, so add water and keep your paint a bit watery so that we can do layers. Go over to that line, there's a line there. That's the end of the boat. Okay, right there, so want to keep that as nice and dark underneath here. When we do another layer, we'll darken it up even more. Good. It's nice and dark around that corner there, so just burnt umber. So you make it easy for yourself at first. Try not to worry about just as long as you get the shapes. Everything else we can do as we move around and see what we want to do. Just going back to the lighter color, the yellow and the red and the little bit of burnt umber. I may end up drawing these lines on again, so if you end up going over your lines, don't worry about it. Like I said, just get those, use those lines as guides to get you the shape of the boat. Okay. Get that shape of the boat. It's very important. Don't forget to add some water. Here. Those lines are really helping me figure out where everything goes. And I'm going to go into my burnt umber, just only burnt umber, and I'm going to get this here. Yeah, you can add a little bit of water to it if you like. I'm just going in with the paint itself because I want this nice and dark. Because I want to distinguish between the top part and the bottom. Okay. And we will go with the burnt umber again on our flat brush. Chisel it as best you can, okay? Because you don't want to go outside lines too much if possible. I'm just going to use the thick paint here now. Just without water this time, just to get that up there. We will darken this again. Those lines are a really big help. You might need a little bit of water to get it to move also. Sometimes it's a little stubborn. I'll just add a little tiny bit of water to my brush that time. And just go around that corner. And a flat brush. I'm going to paint the edge right here. Here. So while you get brown, I'll just go around the areas that you see the brown paint. Now, make sure that all your brushes that you're using are going to be flat and chiseled edge, whether it's flat filbert or just plain flat. Just make sure they're see that nice straight edge there. Now what I want to show you is if you don't have burnt umber but you have burnt sienna, take your burnt sienna so say you don't have burnt umber. See, that's burnt umber. Look how dark it is, right? And depending on the brand, that may be darker or lighter, you know. Brands have different colors for some reason. But anyway, so say you don't have any burnt umber, just take your burnt sienna and add a bit of black to it, okay? And you have that look. It's almost just the same. You can also add your burnt sienna and some blue, ultramarine blue. You also get a really nice dark color, see? Darkens it up really nice. Let's see, too much blue. No, that brings it down to a nice dark color. I would like to add some burnt umber, burnt sienna here because I want to just get everything in place so we know what we got to work with. So I'm just going to put a bit of burnt sienna. If you don't have burnt sienna, just use a brown, cinnamon brown, or add some water to it. Make a watery burnt sienna. Look, I'm just dipping it in there. And I'm going to tap it off my tissue, okay? And then I'm just going to put that on there because I'm trying to see if I can save some of those lines. If I can't, we'll figure it out after. I'm not really worried too much about it. So just get something on here because we need to know where everything goes. Make sure we got the shapes proper and all that good stuff, okay? Just to make it easy for you. These are baby steps. Let's call them baby steps. Why not? All right, so that's just that there. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to add a bit of yellow to my burnt sienna. My watery burnt sienna. And I'm going to lay it in here on that edge here because that's the edge of the wharf here. According to the picture. See? And then I'm going to take some burnt umber. Put a bit of water on it. So I dipped into burnt umber. Dipped into my water and tapped it off my tissue just to, so I'm just going to put that here. So I might end up having to draw some of this out again because alright, so we'll just put the burnt umber there. Bit of water. Bit of burnt umber. This is darker down here, so I'm trying to get the darkness down here. Alright. You can add a little bit of black to your burnt umber if you can't get it to go dark. Or burnt sienna, add a bit of black. So those lines really help. See? Those lines really help a lot to get everything in place, get your composition in there. All right, so it's just getting it started, and we are doing fine. Let's go back and do another coat of yellow, just some yellow, a little tiny bit of burnt sienna, just to, oops, too much. Okay, let's just go with a bit of yellow. Go into the boat again. And we'll put that there like that. A little tiny bit of white maybe. Experiment with your colors, but these are the colors I'm going to use for now. And I'm not going to water it down this time. I'm going to go over this. Start layering my paints. Bring that boat alive. Scrubbing it on. Get more paint when you need. that shape. So you can use that for a guide, see? So now, like I said, you could have painted all that yellow if you wanted to and put your lines on. It would have probably been much simpler. But I like to show you some things that that are different. I don't want to show you everything that's just a little different, right? It's nice to have things made very, very simple, and I do my best to make it as easy as I can for you. But sometimes I like to show you different ways of doing things. And you don't have to do it this way. You can certainly paint the whole works yellow, and then you can put your shadows on after. But I'm going to do it this way so that you can use this technique or the other way. Just painting this side of the boat. Trying to keep that little pointy part there because we don't want to lose that for sure. If you notice, the yellow that we put on, it's got a greenish tint because yellow and blue makes green. So if you've got a blue background and you're painting over it with yellow, it's going to turn green. So it's the way colors work. So we'll just keep adding layers until we get that color, because it is kind of a greenish color in the picture, greenish yellow anyway. It's probably because of the same reason, because the blue is surrounding it. So I'm just going to add some colors to this one here. Lines might be a little harder to detect, but we will do our best to figure it out. I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow to my brush, and I'm going to try and get this little peak here as the reflection, which starts about here, but it ends about here. So we got to get that to come up here like this to meet up. There we go. That gives you an idea where the boat, top of the boat is. The stern of the boat. Good. I'm just going to take a little bit of white, a bit of mix of yellow on there. Just put that in here. Seems to be in the picture there's something going on here. We'll look at that in a minute. Okay. And I'm going to pick up some burnt umber. I'm going to put that on the edge here, going around here. You don't realize sometimes how complicated or difficult something is until you start painting it. It looks fantastic on the picture. It's like, oh, that's easy. And then you start to do it and it's like, uh-oh, this is going to be a nightmare. So I'll just try to do my best to make it as easy as I can for you and hopefully get a nice little boat out of it, and darken this part up down. Just looking around my picture just to see what I can do with it. Okay, just darkening up that little piece underneath here. So like I said, one little step at a time. Just take some piece by piece, dissect it. That's what you gotta do, you gotta dissect it. And then because you can make it easy for yourself, then you'll enjoy it more. And I get my dirty brush with my burnt umber on my brush, and I'm going to put this back in here. It's the edge of the wharf. Okay, so just fiddle. I keep telling you to fiddle with your paintings, but that's only when you're almost done, not when you're getting it started and playing around with it to see where everything goes, okay? Because you need to know how it's going to look. So you sometimes have to fill in parts just to see, does it look right? And if it doesn't, you have to adjust it. So we have a rope right here. Put a bit of paint on that. And then you might need a small round brush for this. you put the rope there, a bit of a rope here, just holding the boat down. I'll just put those here just to get it started, like I said. It's coming along. A little complicated in my mind. But I do want to have a little more of a challenge at times. So under the water it's a bit darker, so we're going to add yellow and some burnt sienna. Yellow and burnt sienna, a little bit of blue to it's kind of got a yellowish greenish look to it on the picture. So let's see. Okay, let's find the lines. So here's a line here. That's going up here. This line is coming here. Just trying to find the lines. This is why it's important if you could keep some of your lines. If you don't, we'll work around it. Not to worry. At least it'll give you some idea of the shape. All right. Putting on some nice different colors. I don't want to be exactly the same as, I like doing things like, when I look at a reference photo, I like changing things up to make it my own. All I really need the reference photo for is shape and an idea of what colors are in the picture. That's all you need. You could have made any boat here if you wanted to. Did a reflection. Okay. So we'll get some burnt sienna, some yellow, and we'll put that down here. All right. I'm going to clean off my brush and just pick up some burnt umber. I really want to get that shadow here. So I didn't add any water to my brush or anything, I just put it on there. Just kind of scrubbing it back and forth to get it on there. So you want to get it really dark underneath here. And then when you get that done, you can take your brush, and whatever's left over on your brush, you can move it down into the rest of it for shadow. But we're going to be adding more color to that, so I'm not going to, but I am going to just, whatever's left over my brush, I am going to scrub it down around here. Get some nice shadows there. See that? Isn't that pretty? I know it doesn't look like it's really beautiful yet, but we're getting there. Darkening up this area over here. There we go, it's starting to come along. I'm going to clean my brush and I'm going to put on some more layers on the boat. So let's keep the yellow going. Add a little bit of white to your yellow to thicken it up, because the yellow is kind of transparent, and the white will help make it opaque. Now, we can always put some shadows on after. So you may have to do several layers. But see, this is the third layer now. See how nice it's coming out? Maybe the third layer is what you need. Maybe that's all you need. You put on as many layers as you want. That little space in there, that's a shadow. It's a darker part of the boat. See how I'm going back over it again, just to put on that little extra bit of paint. See, as we layer the paint, it looks really coming to life. It's really nice. And you might say, well, why don't you just put on the yellows? Because you can see that the underpaintings, the layers that we put on, gives it this nice thick opaque look. And plus we need to do it to make sure that we have the shape. I really like these shadows in here, so I'm not going to disturb them too much right now. I'm just going to add some of my yellow, greenish yellow. Just add a bit of yellow and a bit of burnt sienna, and start adding that to the edge. Kind of like that shadowy underwater look. You can barely see it. I like that. I just want to add some burnt sienna to my yellow. And then I'm just going to, because reflection is a little distorted underwater, or very distorted. So I don't want it to look like it's perfect. Just scrubbing some on. Even up that edge there. Whatever's left over on your brush, just scrape that on. Scrub on, or scrubble. No more paint, no more paint, just whatever's left over on your brush. Whatever's left over on your brush, you see there's some coming off like that because you have extra on your brush, and then I'm just scrubbing it in as it comes off. This will give it an underwater look of a distorted look. So you're sort of scrubbing on whatever's left over on your brush. It's almost a dry brushing technique. Right, see a little bit coming off there. Good, now we're going to darken it up again. Just wanted to get some little bit of roughness or something there. Okay, I'm going to go back into my burnt umber. Back into burnt umber. I'm going back underneath here where the shadow was. I'm going to go under here. Do the same thing we did before. Put the wet paint on. And then scrub it down into your boat. All that paint will kind of mix together, see? Give you a nice rough look. Now if your paint dries and you can't get any more off your brush, add a little bit of water. A little bit of water on your brush. You just have your little barrel, your little thing of water there, and then tap it off in your tissue, because you certainly don't want to put too much on there. Just move that paint around. And even move it up into this other part of my boat. See, I'm even going to move it up here a little bit. But I don't have very much paint on my brush, so I can play around. So when you don't have too much paint on your brush, you can do anything without getting in trouble. See, I got some shadow down here, kind of like a glaze. So go into your burnt umber. Burnt umber and some water. Some water. Tap it off in your tissue. This is a little bit of a glaze, just trying to get something here. Up here. Down there and up here. Okay. It's more burnt umber if you're having a hard time getting it to come off, so wet it down. See, a nice shadow there without destroying everything. See that? So glazes are fantastic for shadows and shadings. There we go. I'm going to put some more in here. So get a little bit of burnt umber. Wipe it off in your tissue. I didn't add any water. It's just that there's probably some water left in my brush, so that will darken it up a little bit here. It's coming along. Coming along. Good. I'm just going to take some burnt umber. No water. Fix that edge up. I'm going to go outside the line a little bit just to give it a crinkly look from under the water. Sort of come out and in. See? Just scrub out and in. That's this part up here, see? The reflection. Out, in, out, in. Good. You want to darken up a bit more, just add a little bit of black to your burnt umber. See how I'm not just going cross like that, I'm scrubbing. Scrub, scrub. This edge here. Can't get it dark enough, just put some black in with your burnt umber. That's better. The darker the better, because it brings out the rest of it then, see? Now I'm going to clean my brush really good. And I'm going back in with some of my yellowish burnt sienna color. I'm going to add, let's see, maybe a little bit here. Let's bring out those part of that boat a little more. So don't worry about too much, just try to get the colors on and keep the shape of the boat. It's underwater, so it's not too much to worry about, but you're going to get a little bit of highlight here and there. See, I'm just letting it fall off my brush there, or whatever's on my brush. So like I said, you probably have to go a few times to get what you're looking for. I'll put a bit of yellow on my brush, and I'm going to highlight this a little bit. Must be a light shining in that or something. Alright, so a little bit of yellow and burnt sienna to get a little bit more here. Turn your brush sideways if you have to. Good. So I just want to get a few lines going across here to give it a reflection. Might need to use your pinky. Hold it steady. They don't have to be perfect. And they have to be a little bit squiggly because they're underwater. It's kind of just back and forth until they kind of one down here. Alright, if it can't come dark enough, just add a bit of black to your burnt umber. Fix it up a little bit there, but I'm going to still scrub back and forth so I can get that squiggly look. A little bit here. So get some lines going. Shaking back and forth so that we get squiggly lines. So there's some lines there that you can follow. I can see them there. Probably don't have too much paint on your brush, that way if you need to adjust it, you can fix it. So if you lost your line, just follow the ones that you have here. Now we don't need too much paint this time, but I want to be able to see it a little bit. Nice chiseled edge brush will help. Okay. Maybe a little bit here. Don't need much. It's under the water. Don't worry, just put them here and there. See? Gives that reflection look. There's some lines underneath here. a little bit. These dark lines we'll use for a base coat. And I will get that color again. This time I'm going to add a bit of white to it. So with your dark burnt sienna right here, I want to make it kind of a grayish color. So add a little bit of white to it. Add my burnt sienna. Just to bring it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add water because I don't want it to be too... I just added some water. See how I got it transparent now? So wipe it off in your tissue a little bit so you can have some there. And we'll use this as a guide. Now, wipe off your brush and some tissue. And then just scrub that around before it dries if you can. Just go over it and let it, just go back over it and scrub it out a bit just so it softens up. Okay, so we'll do another one. Burnt umber, a little bit of white, some water. Wipe it off in your tissue. Needs to be darker, that'd be fine. Just put on some more burnt umber. Clean off your brush. Let's get that fixed up right there. I'm going to use that as a shadow. Nice. Giving our boat kind of an old look. An old look. Okay. I'm going to put some yellow and white on my brush. See if I can get you to see that. Some white, yellow. And I'm going to, more yellow. A little bit of burnt sienna. Put that over here. I'm going to take some white, a little bit of blue. Very pale blue. Too much. Get some white. I want it whiter than blue. Just going to paint in here. So as you can see, I'm trying to change the inside of the boat. I found the white was just plain white, and so I'm just going to add a little bit of color in there. So what you can do is trace out the inside where the seat is and get an idea where the seat is and everything. See how I traced it from the picture. So you'll see when I send you the pattern, I'll make a better pattern than this. But you can see I just traced out the lines of the seat, and then you can make it look like a seat there. So we'll go with that because it's nicer than the other. So I'm just going to, for this here, I'm just going to make a cream color, kind of a warm beige, and I can make that on my white and my burnt sienna. See? Now you can buy bottle paints and they'll be pre-mixed for you, but I love making my own paints, my own colors I should say. Now I'm going to show you something. If you have trouble trying to keep that line straight, put a bit of tape there. That'll help you tremendously. Nothing worse than trying to keep your lines straight. Now you can if your brushes are good. I got my flat brush there, but sometimes people don't have steady hands, and I don't. My hand is not as steady as I would like it to be because I'm always standing up trying to do the videos, so I have to use any means I can to. And it makes my hand like go all over the place sometimes by standing. So I know it's no excuse, no excuse. So I'm going to just put that on here. All right, wind out there. So I'm not, I can add more color to this after. I just want to get this on here now. So if you take that off, you have a nice straight line, see? That's better. Now I'm going to add more burnt sienna to my white. And I'm going to do that little piece down there. So I'm going to get a nice small flat brush. So you might have to change brushes every now and then for each section. Nice round brushes, and I'm going to try this flat brush. I'm just going to go with my burnt sienna and a bit of white. Okay, so more burnt sienna this time and a little bit of white, and we will paint this little piece right here. I'm not using tape. I'm going to put faith in my hand. Just got to get a, need that little finger to lean on. Lean on me. Need that little finger to lean on. And that will help you steady your hand. Good. Good, good, good. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to pick up, and I'm just picking up my burnt sienna. And I am going to this down here. So, if you're sitting down, you'll probably be able to get more comfortable and do it this way. All right. If you're doing it at the easel, it might be a little harder getting these straight lines. So, do whatever is comfortable for you. This is a little better for me. I'm using my finger. That's better. I'm going to clean my brush, wipe it off my tissue, and I'm going to pick up some more color. I just want to keep putting colors in there because so I can separate things. I'm using mostly my burnt sienna, okay? Burnt sienna and white, but I'm sometimes making the burnt sienna, more burnt sienna than white, just so I can figure things out, that's all. So I'm going to go between these lines. Trying to make it easy for you guys too, right? Don't want to confuse you. I know that there are times that I'm trying to figure things out. There are times that I practice a painting before I record it so that I can just explain everything without trying to do it on a whim, but sometimes I just like to do it on a whim, just to show you that you can make changes, you have to make decisions, but practicing it first is a real big help. So I'm leaving those lines here so I can see where the highlights go. Okay. If you need any water, you can use water to loosen it up so it'll move. Sometimes it won't move, and it can be very frustrating because you want to get on with your painting. So just add a bit of water. Trying to see if I can keep a bit of a line there, and that's where highlights go, and we go right over here. Good, that side of the boat, and we'll do the back. Same color is fine, or maybe even a little darker on the back there so we can figure out where everything goes again. Okay, good. Just a matter of filling it in. A little bit of water. See, I added a bit of water. You can see it's more transparent there now. I don't mind that because we can do layers. You'll see how it moves much better when you add a bit of water. Now you might say, well, why didn't you use your magic white? I like using magic white for landscapes. I like using it for everything, but sometimes I just don't want to use it all the time. Some people like to use different mediums. They like using mediums that help them along. I kind of like to go in raw sometimes. That's better. Now see, you can see the shape. See? So you can see the shape of the boat better. Before, it was all light colors and I couldn't figure out where everything went. So at least now this helps. So don't forget, always try to figure things out. If things don't look right in the beginning, or you can't seem to figure out what do I do, or just, this is the thing about painting, is you're trying to figure things out yourself. You're always making decisions. And don't be afraid to make those decisions. If you make a mess somewhere, you wipe it out and start over. Sometimes making different decisions will lead you to something wonderful. I'm just going to put a little bit of paint on that there. Just to have something there for now. Bit of burnt umber. Just want to make sure everything's going okay. So I'm going to add a bit of white to that, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue. Blue and yellow makes green. That's why I did that. Okay, I'm going to get a greenish brown, greenish brown. All right, so yellow and blue makes green. Burnt sienna, brown, and white. It's kind of nice. See, you can make your own colors. I might darken it up a little bit more though. You know, you got to make your own decisions. Just see what happens. That's nice. I like that. Oops. Yeah, I like that. See, I wasn't headed for any particular color. Sort of, but I knew I wanted a kind of a brownish color. Maybe a little bit of a greenish hint to it, but I like that color. It doesn't matter to me, even if it's not exactly as the reference photo. Doesn't matter, right? We're doing our own thing. So now I want to put a glaze over this right here, and I'm going to get some yellow with some water first. Water and some yellow and a little bit of burnt sienna, and let's see what would look nice there. I wonder, a bit of red. Won't add green this time because blue this time because it will turn it green, but that's a nice color. Look at that. More yellow because we want to stay on the yellow side. Okay, and some water. See how you can see the water is in there? See, it's clear, but I want it even more watery than that. Just dip your brush in water and put it on your palette. Alright. I think that's alright. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Just going to paint right over that. That's nice. I found it too yellowy. But that was our base coat, so we needed that anyway. More. Just using a flat brush. I like that better. It's much better. More water. See? That's a glaze. So you can see everything underneath it. You won't destroy anything underneath it. If you put on just plain paint, all that would disappear. So these glazes are fantastic. I'm going to put a little more burnt sienna in there for the other side. For this side here, I'm going to kind of a little more shadowy over here. All right. And let's see what else we can do. I think I'll add a bit of a glaze on the bottom too. I'm going to add a bit more yellow to what I just did. More yellow than the burnt sienna. Burnt sienna, a little bit of white and water. See if we can add some. Look at that. See? Let me add a little more yellow. Just adding some yellow, some water. You can mist it too if you want to. If you don't want to dip it in water, you can just keep misting. Look at that. That's nice, isn't it? See? And you get to keep all your colors. Look. Okay. Add water. Spread it out. I want to keep that shadow. I want to definitely keep that shadow. But look, you can see white. I have a bit more yellow. Because it's a glaze, it's not going to be too yellow. Nice and watery. Yeah, nice and watery. So you can even mist lots of water that way. See the water coming out? Look, I mean, see the, okay, just need to put more water in there. But now you look at that, that nice, look, nice and watery, see? And then you can put as much of that on as you want. Put it up here, put it down there. So that's nice down there. I like to add a little more white to my glaze. See if I can highlight that a little bit more here. Just on the center here, because that will make the boat look even more round. So just in the center a little bit. Just give the boat that round look. Just trying to make sure it's blended a little bit. I might give it a little tiny bit down here, not much. Just whatever's left over. I like that. I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. The more you play around with this, whoops, get out of there. I'm going to add a bit of highlight, just white on my brush with a bit of yellow. Still some water there, I'm not worried about it. More white than yellow. And then I'm going to add some highlight to this edge here. Tip of my brush. And I'm going to wipe my brush off. Give it a little bit down. Whatever's left over here, I'll put a little bit down here. As you can see, I'm not using much. Nice. Very, very nice. Good. It's coming along, isn't it? I like it. I think it's, at first I wasn't sure. I was like, oh my, that doesn't look very good. I'm trying to teach it. Can't get it right. And then I made some changes, and I'm making changes to the way I want to do it. I want to make it easy for myself, and I want to make it look nice, so pleasing to my eye. To my eye. Okay. So this down here is good. I just want to clean that up. I want to clean up the edge around here and clean up the inside of the boat. And then we will do this here in the ropes. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll, you know, it'd be so nice if we added some kind of a lily pad or something here, you know. I don't know. But, I don't know. I'll think about it. I will think about it. So, I'm going to get a flat brush, kind of like the one I was just using. It was nice and flat, tiny. Nice long handle if you need a long handle. It's good for standing back if you get it up at the easel. I'm just going to go with some burnt sienna, burnt umber, I mean, and burnt, if you want burnt sienna, is fine. If it's not dark enough, add a bit of black. No water. Alright. I'm just going to clean up this little edge down here. I'll make sure you can see it. Alright, so I might use my finger because, and watch the paint, make sure it's dry, because it'll get on your finger and then you'll end up moving it all over the place. That's what I do sometimes by accident. Alright, so I'm going to clean this up, bring it up around here a little bit if you need to. Just clean it up by, and remember it's kind of squiggly lines, make it look like it's underwater. Maybe there's a little bit of ripple in the water. Okay. So we need a little bit of shadow behind here to make that stand out. Just your burnt umber or burnt sienna and a bit of black if we need it. Use your chiseled edge. I'm going to go even darker than that. I'm going to add some a little darker. Thinking about contrast. See how it makes it stand out? Good. Same with here. I like to really get that nice and dark. Just burnt umber black. Screw it on. I don't push very hard when I got a lot of paint on my brush, but when paint starts to come off, I kind of scrub it in a bit more. So I got more paint on my brush now, so I'm letting up on my hand a little bit. Just going back, scrubbing back and forth to get the paint to come off. And now I'm going to move it down a little bit into the rest. See the difference in contrast? How it makes it stand out more? Contrast is very important in your paintings. Depends on what you're painting, of course. I mean, you know, you might want to do a watercolor and it's all bright colors and hardly any shadows or anything in it. So depends on your painting, but it does add a lot. Contrasting your colors, the darks against the lights. See that? See the difference? How nice that is? Good. I'll wipe off my brush and I'm going to tone this down here. I'm not too fussy about that. So I'm going to tone that down with some water. Let me see. Let me see. Just some yellow and burnt sienna. I try to use the same color so you don't have to be confused about colors to use. That's a glaze, so you see, I went over it and faded it out somewhat. It's just some light or something shining on the boat. And get nice contrast here. We're doing okay with this. And what else? So let's finish the top up here. Let's make this look really nice. So let's go with the dark color black and burnt umber. Black and burnt umber is nice. Flat brush. So let's put some darkness in here. Good. And we'll burn sienna and a little bit of white, a little bit of water, not much. That's just what I'm doing here. See my mess? So I'm using my mess for color. Make sure your black paint is dry because it'll mix in with this and then you'll end up with shadows you don't want. Dries pretty quickly. That's why I was talking about magic white earlier. I want things to dry faster now. It's only when you don't want things to dry fast you use magic white and for blending. But for things like these small areas, you want them to dry pretty fast so you can go back and forth. See how you can easily cover up those pencil marks? Okay. And we're going to go back here again. Make your colors a little more opaque, which means you can't see through them. Right. Transparent, so you can see through them, so you can see what's underneath, but we don't really need to do that here. We just want to make it more opaque so we can cover up underneath it so we can start bringing out what we want. Still trying to keep a little bit of those lines so I can see where the highlights go. I'm going to add my dark color. I think I'm going to lay that here. No, I think that'll be alright. Maybe leave a little space there so I can, in case I change my mind, I need something there. Okay. Now we'll go get a little bit of highlight. I'll let that dry a little bit first. It's coming along. It's coming along. I'm starting to like it. I'm thinking this here might need a little more shadow. So just get your water, your watery paint. Water, water, water. Add the dark color to it. Alright, and then just wipe it off in your tissue. You don't want too much on there. And then bring a little bit of that shadow up here a little bit, not much. Don't want to do too much damage. You know, if you're happy with the way it looks, don't worry about it. Just gonna darken up a little bit down here as if there's a shadow. Like I said, these contrasts, they really give a nice look to your painting. You know, you can add a bit of color to it too, just for hints of different colors, just to give it some interest. You know. Because it's a glaze, you don't have to worry about losing anything underneath. Kind of sets it off a little, doesn't it? I like that. I'm going to add a bit of water to my brush. Spread it out a bit more. See, it's okay to go in here too. Look, you're not going to do any damage because it's a glaze. I really like that little red effect. It's kind of nice. I like that. That's nice. Now, I'm going to take some white. My brush is dirty, it's okay. I'm going to wipe it off my tissue. And put a little bit of white streaks on this seat here just to give it a bit of highlight. Just dragging it. There we go. And I'm going to drag a little bit of that on top of here because I need to separate that from, just sort of separate it from inside the boat. A bit of highlight, so a bit of white paint, wipe it off in your tissue. And just a little bit of highlight like we did before with the small brush. I'm just using the chiseled edge. Sometimes it's hard to say. So decide where your light is coming from too. That will help you decide where you want most of the light. I'm thinking maybe the sun is shining down from the right some way on this edge here, and that's why you got a bit of light on these edges here. So I think maybe that's what we'll do, and then maybe a little bit of light reflecting into the water. Don't need much. Now I'm going to take the same brush with a bit of white, wipe it off my tissue, and I'm going to add a few highlights in here, underneath here. You can use a small round brush or a flat brush. More white paint. Just give it a little bit on the edge. Underneath. And a little bit down here. On the seat so we can separate that from the back. And I'm going to go into my dark paint. Black and burnt umber. I'm just going to add some little, looks like might be little boards or something there. Try to get 3 values. Dark, medium, and light, okay? Go again. Put a little bit of dark underneath here, just on this top line here. Just separate that a little bit. Good. Clean up this edge here. It's better. It's coming along. And I'm going to clean my brush really good. I'm going to put white on it again. I just want to get those little highlights here. Just something to, where we left those lines. Now you can put dark lines there if you rather. give it more of a woody look. Or you can pick up some of your dark paint, burnt umber and black, and just add a few little dark lines underneath that little bit of lightness that you did. And add a little bit of water, it won't move. See? Maybe a little bit of white and burnt sienna, and maybe a few little streaks. Keep the darks and just little streaks of, like I said, I'm trying to get the 3 values so that it doesn't look flat. Helps. It helps. I'm just going to put a dark line with the dark colors here to separate that chair. And spread it out a little bit up to the top if you like. That's better. That is much better. Good. Just want to get these lines straightened up a little bit more. Just trying to give it a woody, rough look. Now you can put in there whatever you want, you know. Just kind of making it up as I go along for a bit of fun. I'm using reference photo, but I'm not even really looking at the reference photo that much. Just want to concentrate on what I want to do. You know, I might drag a little bit of this over here. I like to experiment too, see? That's what gets me in trouble sometimes. Sometimes that gets me in trouble. See something. Dark color, burnt umber and a bit of black. See if I can add a bit of interest. A couple of lines here. And take the dark and I think I'm going to make a bit of an orange glaze. I really like that orangey glaze that was there. Some yellow and red. And some water. A little more on the red side. Let's add a little bit of, I really like that color. But you can see how watery it is that you can barely see it. So that's the way I want it, okay? So. But it really adds a little bit of color to our painting, doesn't it? So once you get it done, you can do almost anything. So I'm going to take a bit of burnt umber. And a little bit of black. You can take a bit of burnt umber and a bit of blue if you want. As long as it's really dark. I'm just going to see these a bit better. Just a little bit. Kind of skipping over them a little bit, just sort of jumping through there. I mean, you can do small details, go over different things as much as you want, as long as you don't make any big changes to it, because you're only going to cause yourself a little heartache when you can't get it to match up properly. So just go over things, don't add anything too new. So I'm just going to go over this here a little bit just to separate that little bit of white. Just to give it a... So all those little things help. So just, you know, look at your painting and, you know, go over a few little things here and there, but only go over things. Like I said, try not to add too much once it's done, because then you can really change things up too much. Then you end up making a mess like I'm doing here now. Too, you know, I really like that mirror look, and there's no, I'm not going to put any water lines over it or anything like that. I'm going to leave it the mirror look, because that's something like the reference photo I was following. There's other reference photos where there's a lot of water going on there, a lot of waves and stuff, but I don't, this is different and I like it. So you can use a small round brush or stick to your flat, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to add a little bit of white on my brush. I probably picked up a small bit of burnt sienna that was left on my palette, and I'm just going to highlight these little guys right here. So you put your brown on first, and then you put your highlight on top of those. It's right on the edge. Oops, I covered that one up by accident, so I'm just going to put it back. It's got to have that dark edge to make it look 3D. Okay, make sure it's nice and dark, even if you got to add a little bit of black. Make sure you got a chiseled edge or a small round brush. See, it makes it stand out, see? Makes it jump out at you. think I'm going to clean my brush and pick up some of my orangey color that I liked. I like that, and it's watery, and I'm just gonna lay some of that right here because the outside of the boat is got that yellowy look, so, or orangey yellowy look. So maybe the wood is basically the same inside too, you know. Just want to add layers of color. I think it looks really nice. Add a little bit in here. Just on this side here, because it's darker over on this side where the boat is over it. So you can try to imagine in your mind where the darks are, you know. Look at your reference photo and then try to look for shadows and highlights and add your own imagination. Just kind of almost going into using my own imagination now. It's very pretty. Just want to make sure I got some color going on here. Really nice. I'm having fun putting these glazes on because I know I can't do any harm. I can't cover up what I already did. I can't move things around because everything underneath is dry. You just make sure that your colors are dry before you attempt putting on your your glazes. Just kind of like to play around. I mean, it's fun, isn't it? You just keep playing with it. You can do whatever you want now at this stage because everything is dry. You're only using watered down paint, like watercolor. And maybe that's why people like watercolor so much. But I like the nice opaque colors. And you know, I just want to just have some fun with it and see what I can come up with and see what else can add to it. Like I said, you can layer these glazes as much as you want without destroying underneath. And yeah, you can have so much fun with it. Because you know you can't do any harm. You know you can't hurt it. Can't cause any problems. That's a bit too opaque. Just trying to brighten up that a little bit here, okay? So no harm, no harm. We're doing good. See? How cool is that? How cool is that? All right. This is an acrylic paint marker, okay? It's acrylic paint, but because if you're having a problem with your brushes, trying to get a straight line or whatever, you can use the marker. So I'm trying to get that nice straight line here. Maybe I'll do it down this way so I won't. So I'm just going to put try that. It's got to go straight across. Now see, that's a marker, so you can get the, not a marker, it's an acrylic paint. That's acrylic paint, okay? Acrylic paint marker. So you can use this in your acrylic paintings when you're having a hard time getting a straight line. So I use that sometimes. It's nice to get them in different colors. See? So that's kind of nice. Now I have to adjust that. When that dries, I will. There we go. So I'm finding the round brush a little bit difficult for me, but you might be able to try it. I like the flat brush because you could use a chisel edge. I'm going to pick up some burnt umber. Put a few little lines here just to show that there's a little bit of a diagonal. And I'm going to just trying to add some shadows and things. This is an acrylic paint marker, okay? It's acrylic paint, but because if you're having a problem with your brushes, trying to get a straight line or whatever, you can use the markers. So I'm trying to get that nice straight line here. Maybe I'll do it down this way so I won't. So I'm just going to put try that. It's got to go straight across. Now see, that's a marker, so you can get the, not a marker, it's an acrylic paint. This acrylic paint, okay? Acrylic paint marker. So you can use this in your acrylic paintings when you're having a hard time getting a straight line. So I use that sometimes. It's nice to get them in different colors. See? So that's kind of nice. Now I have to adjust that when that dries. So as you can see, the marker worked nicely. Need to clean that up there with the background color. And we just have a little bit more work to do, and I think we're done. So let's make some lines. I'm going to use the ruler and my marker, my acrylic painting marker. Now you can use a brush. You can use a brush, you can use whatever you want. You can use a marker or just a regular permanent marker. Sometimes it's hard making straight lines, so you have to come up with an alternative. And where it's acrylic paint is great, because if you need to go over it or you need to change something, then you can. be careful on the end here. As you can see, it's still wet and it's going to get a mess, so clean it off with a tissue. Just clean it off with a tissue. And I think I'm going to put a little line here. Alright. And let's see. Clean it off. Don't forget to clean off the edge. Some tissue. And let's see. There's a line here. Kind of on a diagonal, I think. And then we have a couple of thinner lines here, so I don't know, this is a little bit thick, so I may need to use something a little thinner, maybe just one of these Sharpies. And let's see, so we have the edge and then we have another one in here. See how much easier this is than a brush? Okay, that's probably dried up, so I'll use a, see if I can get a better marker. Need something with a thin line. And maybe another one here. So any thin or straight lines that you need, just use a marker or, okay, and that's that. And we need to darken up this here, which I'm going to use my acrylic for this one. Now see, that's so much easier. It really is. And I'm going to clean it off. Clean off the edge. Don't forget, you'll make some mess because it is paint. I think I have some of these on my Amazon page. I should say my Amazon shop. I have a little shop, which I'm very proud of because I spent many hours and days looking for recommendations for you guys. Make sure that I have things in there that you can use and prices are decent. I don't have any control of prices, but I try to find stuff that's good brand names, and I look for the better prices. Sometimes some companies sell them a little cheaper. Okay, so let's see. Let's get a round brush. We have these little posts for, let's just put some dark paint here. Just to make a round circle right there like that. And a round circle around here like that. There and right here. Inside the line. I got it outside, so I did it wrong. And then you have your rope, which comes out of the boat. And it's down inside the boat, so it's being tied up in here somewhere. Make sure, and I got a bit of black and a bit of brown if you need a bit of black. We need it really dark. And you can also use a marker for that if you like. And then there's another piece of rope coming here. And that one is coming up here. and around this. So we'll just highlight that and that'll bring it out then. That piece of rope here is actually coming up around the boat on a little hook. I didn't see the hook. It's coming up. It's tied around there. It's coming up here. And there's a little hook up here. So the rope is coming up here. Okay, so you got a rope there. You got one coming out of the boat. And we don't have to put all the ropes in. We're just going to make it look like just some ropes. They're going down behind there. And I think that's enough. I really don't want to. Okay. So I'm going to line up this here. So these pins are markers, acrylic painting markers, are great for straight lines, especially if you're doing houses or things like we're doing here. See how much nicer it is? See? And I think we're doing good. Just put another couple of lines here just to make it look like wood. All right. Alrighty. There's one there. Maybe one little one here. Yeah, that gives a little bit of depth. Nice. So I really like those markers. Easy to work with. So I'm just going to highlight my rope. I'm just going to get a round brush. And I'm going to get some white with a little bit of burnt sienna and yellow. And I'm going to use that for a highlight. So all I have to do is put a little highlight on this here. Just that little round circle that we made. And I think we made one right here too. A little more white. Bring it out more. And the rope is just bring over these little lines, okay? You bring them over from the right to the left or the left to the right, it's up to you. Just bring it out like that, see? Little taps of color. Alright, tap, 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 tap. There we go. And where else do we have rope? Right here, and we have rope. All right, it's coming out of the boat. There we go. Now let's see. Good. Let's see, that's just going down behind the boat somewhere. You don't want to worry about it too much. I don't want too many ropes. You can put in as many as you want. You're quite welcome to put in as many ropes as you want, okay? I have to clean up this in here a little bit, all right? And a little bit of yellow and white. And, oops. Because it dries dark, we'll put in a little bit lighter than we have to. Okay. And I'm going to put a bit of black on my brush, and you could use the marker if you want, and you can make a round circle. This is the hook. Alright, you know what? I'm going to use the marker because that brush is not being very nice to me. So I'm just going to make a round hook like that. And then when that dries a little bit, I'm going to put some white on it to make it kind of silvery looking. And that's it, just a little bit. Just trying to give that a little bit of shadow here. Yeah, it makes life so much easier when you use your marker. I could even, if I wish I had, I'll go pick up some more colored ones so I can show you what I'm using them for. I use them for different things. Okay. That's looking good. I like it. Get a little thin brush. A little thin one. Thinnest one you can find. This one looks pretty thin. Look at that. I'm going to wet it, and then I'm going to add a little bit of white. And a tiny bit of black, but more white than anything. And I'm going to put a highlight of white on top of that. Marvelous. These are supposed to be on a little curve, not straight across, but they're kind of like on a diagonal. I made them too straight across. I'm going to make them on diagonal now. I'm going to get some brown and put it between those because I find that they're a little bit too thick. So you can go back and forth and fix things. Not to worry, right? Don't worry. Right? I don't like it, so I'm going to fix it. Yes, it is a bit tedious and there's a lot of work. But when you're finished, something you're proud of because you know you put a lot of work into it. So right here is a big knot. It's a bit of a knot up here too. get the shadows in there. Okay, when that dries a little bit, I'm going to take a flat brush and I'm going to put some yellow and white and burnt sienna on my brush. And I'm going to wipe my brush off in some tissue. And I'm going, whatever's left over on my brush, I'm going to drag a little bit of highlight on this, okay? Drag it this way, horizontal. Not too much, just enough to give it some highlight. Maybe a little bit here. And I think I'm going to drag a little bit back here too. That's better. Alright, as soon as I finish that, I don't think there's much left to do with that. Oh yeah, I gotta clean up this edge here, so I'll do that now. So I gotta match up the colors. I'm using a dark blue or ultramarine blue, whatever you used, whatever blue you used at the beginning. A little bit of yellow to green up a small bit, and more blue than green, obviously. That's too green. Go more blue, and then white. And just put a small bit of white on first, just to match up the color. Okay, as close as you can. Pretty close. So I'm going to take that, clean that up in here. It's not bad. So it's pretty cool. You know, you got that real beautiful reflection there. Took a bit of work. But I like it. I think it's nice. There's probably other things you can do with it if you wanted to. You know, you can play around with it. But like I keep telling you, be very careful, because if you go into a lot of trying to put in a lot of detail, it could change it up on you completely. So you don't want, if you're happy with it, leave it alone, all right? If you're happy with it, leave it alone. Don't poke at it like I'm doing now. But very, very subtle change. It's not a change, it's just I feel it needs a little bit of separation there. That's nothing, didn't do very much, so it didn't do any harm. And these two lines could have, that line there could have been straighter, but that's okay. It's okay. That's okay. So I'm just going to finish the rope there, and then I'm going to call it finished. Like I said, there's other things you could do. You could put more highlight a little bit, but if I were you, and you get to this point, because where it was so hard, or not hard, I suppose, where it was tedious, what you want to call it, tedious, then I would say leave it alone. So up here, so you got that, the little, there's a rope right here, but it's a knot. So you got your dark, so water came off on that, see? Be very careful with these skinny brushes. The water just appears. Surprise, surprise, right? Okay, and then okay, just these little knot there, see? A little bit of a knot. A little bit of rope here going around there. And, of course, so that's it. I think I'm going to leave it. I like it. I think it's nice. I do need a couple little lines right here. Skinnier lines. A little bit here. And what can I do with that? I think I need to darken that a little bit there. See, these things you probably wouldn't even notice if you left it alone. But because you're painting, you notice these things. Right? So any little noticeable things like that, you go right ahead and fill them in. It's not fussy about that there. I'm going to darken that out a little bit. I'm going to darken that out right here. I think that looks better. And you might say, well, how do you know when to stop? Well, yeah. One way to know when you want to stop is when you're just tired of it. You're just tired of poking and picking at it, and you like it. You say, I really like it, but you know, I can do this and I can do that. And when you're really tired of it, just stop.